Today we're going to show you how to set up Google Forms with GoGuardian. Here you're going to be able to watch students as they progress through their quiz, and you'll be able to limit the number of tabs and sites that they can visit or open. So let's get started. Your first job is to build your Google quiz. Once you've established your quiz and your settings, you can go in and adjust as necessary. We know that we want it to collect emails, we want to restrict to Pale Mac, and we want to limit to one response. If you navigate to quizzes, you're going to toggle it on. You're not going to enable locked mode. I'll explain more about this as I go into the GoGuardian side. I want to manually review each of those submissions and then release the grades as when I see fit. I'm going to allow the respondents to see the missed questions. You decide whether or not you want them to see the correct answers and the point values. Be sure to save to secure those settings. When you're ready, you are going to use that quiz. We're going to navigate over to GoGuardian and set up our scene. In scenes, we would like students to be restricted. So we're going to make it so that we're going to build a list of where they are able to go to. So we're going to make an allowed website list. I have one started, so I'd love for you to see here. I'm going to remove everything just so you can see as I build it in real time. When you begin a new scene and you've chosen to go with the allowed website list, you name your list. This one I'm going to call Google Form Quiz No Lock, meaning it's not in locked mode. I'm going to go next. Here I want to include only the websites I would like students to visit, because I really want the students to be able to chat with me using the GoGuardian feature. That's why I'm not going to be putting the Google quiz in locked mode. So I'm going to navigate back to my Google quiz, click on send in order to get the URL link. From here I copy it, go back over to GoGuardian, enter the website here, and add. I want you to look closely at the Google form. It begins with docs.google.com. Because it needs to validate the student's email address, we do want to add one more website. Here we're going to start with the docs.google.com, again because we want to validate their usage. I add the site, so now I've got the two allowed websites here. Tab management. When I apply the scene that I'm building to all students in my classroom, I want it to automatically open to that form. So I'm going to paste that link here. Be sure to click Add Tab. Now you can see it here. The maximum open tabs is 1. I want the students to stay to that tab. I will be communicating with them via GoGuardian, but I want to make sure that I'm in control of that. So once I'm set, navigate back to the top. Be sure to save this scene. I'm going to go back over to my classroom. I find the classroom. I have one called Quiz Test, so I'm going to try that class. Once I've given or provided my directions to the students, again, they might be on Google Meet, I would go ahead and give all those directions ahead of time, tell them that they can chat with me on GoGuardian. I will turn that on, and once I apply the scene, it will close all other tabs. So here, there's my Google Form Quiz No Lock. I'm going to start the session, and when I do, it will automatically take over my student screen. The Chromebook is now following exactly what I've done here. And all right, so when I start the scene, you will see that it will take over my students' Chromebooks. Let's expand this so you can see the screen. From here, you can see that it has opened up her tab to this Google form. Notice that you'll see as she's moving, she's going to try and open a new tab. Unfortunately, it does not allow her to do so. She can, however, go down to her apps, and she might be able to open up a file. So I'm going to check that right now. Nope. So because I have it limited to one tab, she is unable to open any of the downloaded files that exist on her Chromebook. Another fantastic component to using Google Forms not in locked mode is that you can utilize the functionality in GoGuardian to be able to chat with your students. If a student has a question, they can pose it to you. Likewise, if you have a direction that you need to give to your students, you can chat with them. So you're going to navigate from the student activity to the chat, and here you can give a message. Be sure to read question 3 carefully. If you have questions, please ask here. Okay, I send that over to our student, and our student has that show up on their screen. You can see it, and when the student clicks on that to view it and to perhaps write back, you as the educator, the teacher on that course, you will be able to see the response and in real time. So here we are, and you can respond back if you needed to. If, let's say, our student became confused or wasn't exactly sure what was going on and had a question, or you can see that they're getting stumped, if you wanted to give them a little bit more direction, you can click on annotate, you can choose the pointer size, and then you can actually guide the student in real time to look carefully so that they pay close attention to those directions. And then you can close and then continue. You can take screenshots as needed. Remember that these will all show up in your GoGuardian student report summary. That's fantastic. You'll notice that you do recognize this. This is Read Write for Google, and that has been enabled because that is part of the extension list that it was enabled for the student Chromebooks. If you don't want that on, we would need to remove that prior to the test. Additionally, the student will go ahead and begin answering the questions. They cannot navigate away from this site. They can't go to another site, because if they do, it will say that it's blocked. So they would have to go back to the site, because again, we've made it an allow only list, and we've included only docs.google.com and this form. So from here, the student will continue, make sure they answer correctly, and then submit to you. When they do, you'll see that they have, it'll show up on your screen, everything is there. They have submitted. Now let's say, okay, great, they wanted to go to another site. Unfortunately, they cannot do so until the scene is disabled or testing has concluded. So once you've started that scene, all students are included in that, unless you went over to click on the individual student, and then you could allow them to, you could exclude them from this, or you would be able to, you could exclude from the session and let them do whatever they wanted to do, or you could open a new tab, especially if you wanted them to go to something that existed on your Schoology. So right now, again, it is not doing that because we did not add that as part of the other list. But you could select the student and then apply a different scene. Again, the other scene would continue for all the rest of the students except for the one that you have now allowed them to do. So now Olivia could go and go into Schoology if she so wished. And so you can see that this student is now trying to engage and go into Schoology.